PikeCountyZombieControl.com. November 5, 2024 is the presidential election. If Donald Trump wins, could there be a civil war? Let's look at the past to predict the future. January 17, 2017, Donald J. Trump became the 46th President of the United States of America. The propaganda from Mockingbird mainstream media and the entire entertainment industry intensified.
Saturday.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Shelter freaks and outcasts, those who have no homes. We will get past the lies. We will hunt monsters. And when we are at a loss amidst the hypocrisy and the casual violence of certain individuals and institutions, we will, as per Chief Jim Hopper, punch some people in the face when they seek to destroy the meek and the disenfranchised and the marginalized. And we will do it all with soul, with heart, and with joy. We thank you for this responsibility. Thank you.
This propaganda is phase 3 of the zombie formula. Targeting and activation. It turned ordinary citizens into hateful, dangerous individuals. Shakespeare in the Park, a play performed in New York City, features stabbing of Trump. This is called conditioning and desensitization. Zombies will be willing to accept violence as the only answer. 2020 George Floyd. The foot soldiers of the Democrat Party. Mostly peaceful protest. The Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, let the cities burn for 4 days.
You are ordered to cease your unlawful behavior and disperse peacefully from the
2020 Joe Biden won the election. Because of COVID, many states changed election rules. Many people questioned the results.
I think the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Let me say it again.
The 2020 election was the most secure
Election in American history.
Let me begin by asking a very simple question. Do we know the truth about what really happened in the 2020 election?
I think millions of Americans know something went wrong, and they have little pieces, and no one's really put it together.
We identified in Atlanta 242 mules that went to an average of 24 drop boxes. But Philadelphia alone, we've identified more than 1,100 mules. This is organized crime.
Do you have video evidence?
4 million minutes of surveillance video around the country.
What you're about to see is disturbing.
So this is 1 o'clock in the morning. On one night, this person, this mule, went across 6 counties to 27 different drop boxes.
I call it the Mexican mafia, seriously, because they work like that.
We come to the most important question of all. Was the magnitude of vote trafficking enough to tip the balance in the 2020 presidential election?
It's not a leap to say this would have made a difference.
They have ruined Election Day in the United States of America. That's provable. And that's enough for me to fight the left with every fiber in my body.
Without free and fair elections, we are not a democracy. We are a criminal cartel masquerading as a democracy.
On January 6, 2021, Trump and his supporters held a rally at the Capitol. Unfortunately, this turned violent. This also brought up more questions. Who is Ray Epps? How many federal agents were on the front line? Thousands of people were charged and convicted for different types of crime. None for insurrection. Some are still being held as political prisoners. U.S. veteran Ashley Babbitt was shot dead by the police. Take a moment and pray for Ashley and her family. Indirectly, the Biden administration used lawfare to keep Trump out of the next election. As of this day, August 10, 2024, it has not worked. On July 14, 2024, a zombie attempted to assassinate Trump. By the middle of his term, it was obvious that Biden was suffering from mental decay. July 21, 2024, Biden dropped out of the presidential race. His administration will be known for open borders, soaring inflation, and family scandals. The Democrat ruling elite that claimed Trump is a threat to democracy and he will be a dictator, installed Kamala Harris as their presidential nominee without one vote from the public. She picked Tim Walz for VP, an extreme leftist that signed a bill to remove parental rights when it comes to transgender children and a bill to let illegal immigrants to obtain a driver's license. In his state, you are automatically registered to vote when you renew your license. Now it is time to input all the data we have gathered. Input information from Agenda 2030. The World Health Organization. The World Economic Forum. The Center for Disease Control. The Bilderberg Group. Federal Reserve and today's headlines. This is how we see the future. Sometime before the election, a new outbreak with lockdowns. Despite all their efforts, Trump wins. The very next day, the global elites activate the Great Reset. Zombies across the nation activate and every city is in flames.
Stop. They're not going to stop. And this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop.
This goes on for months. There is a total breakdown of food supply and financial institutes. Then the final blow to any hope of recovery.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can.
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment does not apply. Trump has never been convicted of, or even charged with insurrection. But it won't matter. They will deploy the Internet kill switch. Only government-approved websites and news outlets will be permitted. The First Amendment is gone. Republicans and Trump supporters will be hunted by zombie hordes. Money will be replaced with the central bank digital currency. The installed President Kamala Harris said in 100 days she would sign executive orders for gun control. Mandatory buyback begins. Second Amendment gone. Governors like J.B. Pritzker will conscript thousands of illegal migrants into law enforcement. There will be resistance. Thousands will die. By midsummer, the United States of America, the American dream and this great American experiment has come to an end. Everyone will know the frustration of Tommy Robinson.
We're showing the public, and do you know what? The reason why my Twitter X account is flying through the roof is because the public want to see it. The public want to know the truth. They don't want some filtered nonsense. We're managing the situation or managing what the public know. Tell them the truth. The problem is that bad that they need to know the truth. That there's massive problems. Even today, they go on about they're spending all this money now for all these big arrests and preventing the far right, protecting the mosque. Protect our borders. Protect our borders. Send the military to protect our borders. Our women are being raped. It's not a joke. Our women are not safe. And you keep bringing them in. And you've just turned. They've turned. When we had 100,000 people on the street, the entire country is rebelling against mass immigration. They've turned it all to make it that anyone who says a word is far right and racist and English offensive. They've had a successful campaign over the last 7 days. They've manipulated it, orchestrated it, drummed up all the Muslims, made up 100 demonstrations, and all the headlines now are, we beat the racists, we stopped the riots. You let the riots happen. You organised the riots. You manipulated the riots. Now you're imprisoning young kids who are angry, disenfranchised, neglected, forgotten, English kids, angry with the system, angry at being neglected, angry at being second rate. And now you're banging them all in jail for 3 years, 4 years. What about the Muslims who attacked the police officers? What about them in Manchester Airport? How can you, within 7 days, be locking all these people up? Where's the Romanian and Muslims that burnt buses, that burnt police cars, that attacked violently police officers? How come none of them are in jail? None of them. How come? How come none of them? And this is what everyone's watching. And I may sound frustrated. I'm frustrated because journalists have since, for the last week, they come to find out where I was. They let the world know where I was. They are purposely. They done it with Pim Fortuyn in Holland. They build this character and then they encourage until someone tries to kill you. They don't even have to get their hands dirty. They wind everyone else up with lies. Total lies. There is no evidence I've encouraged violence. No evidence I was involved in these demonstrations. No evidence I organised them. None. I wasn't involved. I merely made videos as a commentator, which is what I do as a journalist, and show people what was happening, not what the media was showing, because the media are just showing English people. They're not telling people why. They're not showing police reactions. They're not showing them arresting grandmothers, throwing English women on the floor. They're not showing why the public are so angry. And because our borders are open, our country's changing. They've totally spun it. It's been a massively successful government campaign under a communist regime who wish to take away freedom of speech, take away freedom of movement, and end freedom of the press. Citizen journalism is the answer to these problems, and they have to stop it. And to stop it, they have to stop Elon Musk. They have to stop X. If they take out X, we are ruled under communism.
Pray for all of us. PikeCountyZombieControl.com